Good morning. Welcome to our Wednesday morning class here at HeartLight Spiritual Center, coming to you from Charlotte, North Carolina, for you that are out of state. We want to welcome you to the class today and the series in which we are offering you through this time is concerning how we can discern and listen to our body and understand why we have an illness or a sickness, or actually if one's on the way before it even manifests. So it's kind of preventive. So let me say this morning. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. But actually, you can't have a word without a thought. So let's say in the beginning was a thought, and the thought became the Word, and the Word became biological. Or let's take the Hindu idea. Behind every thought is a sound. So first is the sound became the thought, and the thought became the driving of our cellular development of our body. So I thought this morning we would just begin with just pure sound. I have a Tibetan bowl here, which is brought to me from Tibet as a gift, and I'm going to use it. And this is called an awakening bell right here, and it is a frequency to awaken our potential and to awaken that part of us that we don't use every day, that we're not conscious of, but it's there. And then these are Tibetan bells right here. We're going to use those. So I'm going to ask you to just get in your space wherever you are. If you are here, thank you. If you are in your home or wherever you are, just feel the space in which you're occupying right at this moment. Take a moment to breathe, and as you do, realize that anything that has happened is not real in this moment, and anything that hasn't happened isn't real in this moment. And when you take those two things away, all you have is the present moment, right now. So I invite you into the now of your life. And it's from the now that you can find that place of potential to create even a different past. Don't think the past is set in stone, and we'll talk about that sometime. We know the future isn't, but the past isn't either. So we're going to talk about that as we go through. So I'm going to do these sounds this morning, and I want you to just close your eyes, take a deep breath, be centered, and let's go all the way back from word and thought to sound. In the beginning was the sound, the vibration. So just take in the sound through all aspects of yourself. Breathe in slowly. Where does the sound take you in your body? What part of your body? Allow Spirit to take your consciousness in that area of your body that needs these sounds. Let Spirit take you to what thoughts come up. Spirit rides the wave of sound and brings sound to exactly where it is needed in the body as well as the mind. We'll do it one more time. Awakening bell. Tibetan bowl. As we allow the sound to diminish back into the ocean from which it came, When I sounded, it was like a wave that came out of the ocean, but it returns back to the source from which it came. Let's take another deep breath. Exhale slowly. Again, breathe in slowly, taking in this new, wonderful, pure energy that is breaking through our everyday third-dimensional life. Exhale purposely, letting go of anything that is no longer serving you. And now return to the normal breath and find the cycle that is most natural to you. And so it is. Yeah. While you're in that state, I will do the daily word. Today it's really good. It's enthusiasm energizes me. Everybody say that, you that are here with me. Enthusiasm energizes me. Wow. No great happening is required for me to feel passionate about life. Contemplate that. I don't have to have things to happen to make me feel any way, because there are feelings in me that are innate. It's my birthright. It's my identity. It's who I am. It's not dependent on what's happening out here or happening out there. My enthusiasm stems from my willingness to appreciate all that I have. Let's go into a place of appreciation for what we have in this moment. Not what we don't have, but what we have. I know that I'm blessed with enough and even more than I need. My strong faith combined with my powerful imagination fills me with positive and expressive energy. Temporary challenges or bumps in the road do not cause me lasting distress or concern. Breathe it out. I know, doesn't say I believe, I know I can count on the Spirit of God within me to uplift and energize me in all that I do. My exuberance is contagious as I'm enlivened and invigorated. I am free to lay claim to infinite positive possibilities. My optimistic expectation moves me forward. My oneness with God is the spark of my inner joy. With enthusiasm, I declare, all is well in my life. Say it with me. All is well in my life. Our scripture is Romans 12:11. Do not lag in zeal. Be ardent in spirit. Serve God purposely. Good. That was good. That felt good. All right. We're, I think, in a fourth week of kind of going through this subject. And this subject just kind of was born out of this class. So I didn't project it out there and say, this is what I'm going to talk about. It seemed like as I've moved through the class that this is what came out of the class. So let me just set a little bit of a tone for those who have not been with us. And I ask you, please, if you're interested in this subject, go back and listen to the last 3 or so Wednesdays, because you'll get a lot from it. So what we are dealing with is the body of great wisdom. In other words, the wisdom is a language that speaks to us and tells us kind of where we are on our path. If you stop just a moment and think of a part of your body that feels good, doesn't hurt. And there are parts of our body that doesn't hurt. But we don't think about that. That's not a part of the body we're conscious of. If things are fine, we just take that for granted. The only place that we pay attention to is where we hurt, where there's pain, where there's something that's wrong. Pain draws our attention to itself because it realizes, and the ego, pain is the ego's way to prove separation from God. And therefore the ego wants you to pay attention to pain because what you pay attention to, you energize. What is that saying? Where thought goes, the energy flows. So the ego is going to make your pain more real and more real and more real the more you think about it and transfer your consciousness to it. The more of your consciousness the pain uses to become more conscious of itself to be pain. Whoa, think about that. What you feed is what grows. If we feed what's wrong with us grows. But we just don't seem to take time to feed that which is not demanding of us as pain. So the body is telling you that things are good in that area of your body where there's not pain. Where there is pain, it says something is going on here that needs a correction. It needs a balance. And that is what practitioners are for. This is why some of you who come to these workshops and you learn a modality of some kind, is you're here to facilitate and help people to correct and to balance parts of their self, of their mind that needs to be balanced because it's showing up unbalanced in the body. And that's all pain, disease, and sickness is. You've heard the old saying, dis-ease can bring disease. I know that's been played out enough, but it's still true. The dis-ease of the mind can end up as disease of the body. So why would we want to treat immediately a disease or illness in the body without taking care of the dis-ease that caused it in the first place? So this is important for you to understand that your thoughts and feelings and those things that are not tangible to the body. Now think about that. If I say fear, greed, on the negative side, but if I say love and peace, those are not things you can hold like a book. It's not objective. It's not a thing. It's something I can't see, but I can feel it. I can think it. It's a thought. So you got to realize that that part that you can't see is what we call cause. If cause is not taken care of, it follows its own law of becoming an effect. What's not taken care of in the cause of a person will show up as an effect in the life of the person. So this is where Western medicine has somewhat failed us at some degree. Now, I'm not going to badmouth all Western medicine because there are times that it's very valuable to you. If you need really something quickly, or you have an accident or something like that, that's fine. We learned the last 2 weeks the difference in someone coming to a doctor who has some kind of an arm that is painful and shifting that because of the fact that there's a pain in your arm. What are they going to treat? Your arm. They're going to treat the pain in the arm. But they're not going to ask you, what was going on 6 or 9 months before you had this pain in your arm? Because if they did, what they would be doing would be taking you back into cause. So what we learned the last 2 weeks was to change this from, I've got an arm with pain in it, but what pain is manifesting in my arm? Not a painful arm, but what pain has shown up in my arm? Remember that? And then we took our body mapping here, which we teach in Soma Energetics in our manual, and we looked up a situation in which somebody had a right side arm that had a pain in it. So instead of treating the pain in the arm, we're going to treat the pain that shows up in the arm. So when we do that, and this is our body mapping, there's many ways of doing this, but if you look on this body mapping and you look at the arm, you're going to see it's number 7 in the body mapping. And here's what it says on the right side. It says arm, ability to embrace others. So if I want to really heal my arm, now I realize I can go get a shot, which I've done and do. to numb the pain, because my brain will make me believe the pain's gone when it's only been numbed, or they blocked the nerve, or they've done something like that, and then we get this thing, I don't have the pain anymore. No, you still have the pain that showed up in the arm. Even if you deaden it physically, it's still there. So I would tell this person, let's look at one. Right side is always controlled by left side of the brain. Correct? Everybody knows that. Everything's crisscrossed. Right brain shows up on the left side of the body. Left brain shows up on the right side of the body. Right side also is expressive of masculine energies. And it's about others. Now, if it had been the left arm, it would have been more feminine energies and self. Things I do to myself. But on the left side, it's what others have done to me that I have given power to them. So let's say there's a husband, a lover, a brother, a son, an uncle. I don't care who. It doesn't matter, because we're not looking at gender as much as we're looking at the yang of it, the masculine, the positive aspects of it. So this would have to do something to do with the fact that I have a block in the ability to embrace others in a different way. In other words, I need to correct my perception of that person. Let's talk about that. How do you do that? That's not an easy thing, and that's why the Course in Miracles calls it a miracle. I mean, that's a big term. You that have taken Course in Miracles should know that the definition of a miracle is what? Anybody here know that? A shift in perception. That whole book is based upon the power of shifting your perception from anything to do with anger or fear to love. Right? So if someone has done something to me, a male energy, and this can be your own male energy, because sometimes we're our worst enemy. It's not always somebody out there. Sometimes what we're looking for to heal is in ourselves and about ourselves. But whatever form it takes, that's another story. We're looking at the energy of it. So the masculine means that, and we'll just say, for instance, I'm doing a person and I'm working with them, and they say to me, yes, I have a father that I've never been close to, that did something to me, whatever. We won't go into specifics of whatever it is. And I have lived with that fear, that anger for 30 years. And it could be as simple as my father died and left me. A lot of people are still angry about people who leave them. A mother, a father, somebody that left you. How dare you leave me? Grieving, all those kind of things can hang around for years and decades. And they become mispatternings. That's the way I want to put it. They become mispatternings that you know as a blockage. If you don't take care of these things, they're going to show up and take on a pattern. And it's that pattern that becomes a part of the blueprint of how cells look at to form themselves. So anger not taken care of can end up showing up in the body as some kind of a illness or a disease. But again, we run to take care of the disease. And this is a thing that people don't want, especially in the West. We are not, now it's changing because there's a shift in a more dominant masculine culture as more feminine comes in. But when it was at its strongest as a patriarchal culture, that means male is always product. Male wants product. Female or feminine wants process. Now you ladies know what I'm talking about. You men should know what I'm talking about. Man wants the dinner on the table. wants to do its thing, love-making and sober, and you're going, but I want to be loved. I want to be touched. I want to be told. You want process. And I know that from years and years of counseling couples, that's the most thing I hear from women is he doesn't touch me, he doesn't love me, he doesn't tell me I look nice, he doesn't have any process. He just wants his 30 seconds of fame. Okay. But I'm talking on a cultural level that we are a nation of product. We want fast food. We want things to just happen, but we don't learn. Now, that has changed in the last 3 or so, maybe 4 decades, as people have been more attracted to things like workshops. Why do you think people go to workshops? To learn how. Remember, the master teacher said, I'm the way. Somehow that got edited out. The way got edited out, and all Jesus became was a magician of just healing people. Just poof. Rise from the dead. Poof, you are healed. Poof, you're not blind anymore. It was just a magical, because it was all masculine, Old Testament God, and Jesus, the Son of God, and the masculine showed up in product. And how many times have I told you that one of the most enlightening things about being a student of the Bible is that 18 years edited out of Jesus' life? Why do you think they did not want us to know the 18 years of 12 to 30 years old? Because he was in process. They want you to think he's virgin born and has all power and he can just do this and whatever. No, he went and learned. He learned that the world that he lived in was an illusion. He learned how to deal with illusion. Where did he learn it? India, Kashmir. Great gurus and teachers. Here's the key, and this says in the Bible, and he grew in wisdom and knowledge, in grace and knowledge. He grew. He didn't just come out of Mary's womb with all of this power. He went and learned how. He learned to look at a wall. Now this is so quantum. This is so quantum. Learned at a wall and says, but that wall has a whole lot of space between it. It's nothing but particles. It's just electrons and protons and neutrons and spinning in empty space. And he said, you know what? I think I can just squeeze through the empty space between those protons, electrons and neutrons. So he walked through walls. Not because it was supernatural, because he was obeying the law of the universe. He was a quantum man before quantum ever was. And that's why I hang on to Jesus, because religion makes him this old-fashioned person of 2,000 years ago. No, he holds the pattern and the principles of how to know the way. I am the way, the truth, and the life. So, back to the arm thing. What hurt is manifesting in my arm? So, I want to lead this person in how can I help them, facilitate them. I'm not going to do it. I make it very clear. I am not your healer. I cannot heal you. But I can help you get in touch with the innate healer in yourself. And what's the healer? The intelligence of the divine. The Logos. The Word. That is our inheritance. Anybody who's been created and incarnated carries their birthright with them. And you see, that's where religion stepped in and said, but you're not born with anything. In fact, not are you not born with anything, you're born a sinner. You come in with nothing but sin. Adam's sin. That is the thing they say is the thing that is innate within you. They even made a doctrine out of it in the 4th century called original sin. Catholicism was huge in that one. but it was passed down to the protesters of Catholicism, which is the Protestants. The word Protestant just means I'm a Catholic, but I protest the Pope. And that was the Church of England. And they held on to original sin. What's the first thing they want to do to that baby? Baptize it, so it doesn't go to hell. And if they'd read their Bibles, their own Bibles that they say is the Word of God, it is so clear in, I think it's Ephesians 1 and 3, that says, we were in God before the beginning, found with all spiritual blessings. What's original? Blessings, not sin. So I believe in original blessing. So something in there. Now, I don't have to be conscious because people will say, well, what happened? Now, oftentimes in all the people I've worked with for 20 some years in this area, there has been a great percentage of those people that I've been able, through the modality that I use, which is tuning forks. And it's not really tuning forks, but it's vibration. The tuning fork's just a tool. But by using a tuning fork and two tuning forks, I create something very powerful that you can't see. So let's say I have two tuning forks right here. Our first tuning fork would be what we call an oot fork and a ray fork. Oot, ray, mi, fa. Just two forks. That's all you need to know. And this one is 396 and this is 417, which means this one vibrates 417 times a second. This one vibrates 936 times a second. But here's the cool thing. When I tap them together, I create something that's called an interval. What is an interval? The interval would be subtracting the higher number of frequency from the lower number of frequency from the higher number of frequency, and in this case would be 21 hertz. So again, 936, this fork, 417, this fork, tap them together, and it goes right down the center of the right and left brain as the difference between the two, which is 21 hertz. The 21 hertz opens the pathway. Not this one or that one, but together they open a pathway. Now, when I've opened the pathway with the tuning fork, here's what can happen. Because when you open a door, things that want to get out can get out, but things that are trying to come in can come in. So it's kind of a double-edged sword here in a way, because the things I want to get rid of that's not serving me is good, but also I'm opening the door for new, fresh energy to take its place and come in. So it's important that we open up these vibrational pathways or portals. So when I do that, oftentimes a person, and I'll say to them where I am in discerning this, okay, I'm in your arm, you've got a pain in your arm, but it is a psychological thought that's causing the pain with a masculine. And they say to me, oh my God, that must be my dad. I didn't tell them that they're dad. They told me. Or it was my first husband or whatever. I remember what happened. They offer me the information. But if that happens and they don't offer me information, it doesn't mean I'm wrong. It just means that it's not enough in the consciousness to be remembered. It is so deep into the subconscious that it can still have this effect without even being conscious of it. And this is the great challenge. And doing energy work is much challenging than doing physical work. Trust me. Healing people just physically, dealing with parts of the body, massage, all of that, as much as we love all of that, is easy because you can get to feel it. You get to feel it. You get a sensation. The senses can pick it up and say, oh yeah, this, I feel that. Oh yeah, that was pain there. Oh yeah. But when you're dealing with below in the unconscious, where, by the way, most of what is driving your everyday life more than what you are consciously outwardly thinking. I think it's Bruce Lipton that said it's like 1,000,000 times more powerful, your unconscious, subconscious, than your conscious. Like right now, you can only think so many thoughts at one time of where you are and what I'm saying. You're going to get just a few. Just a few thoughts are going to go, I got that one. But a lot of it's going to go, when you say, I didn't get that, but it doesn't go away, it goes into the deeper self. Okay? This is why we have to be very particular, not particular, but guarded about what we let filter into us. Because it will take its place if we dare in any way let it root itself in us anyway. So anyway, what I'm saying to you here is this person is not able to let it go, not embracing it. So if we go through this whole thing of what's going on in the unconscious, the subconscious, which is affect, I don't have to worry about healing out here, because every effect will have a cause. And if I change the effect, the cause, if I change the cause, the effect is automatically going to change. Okay? So this is a thing we don't want to deal with, because most likely if I said right now, if one of us here in this room or listening to me has a specifically situation, a knee issue, an elbow issue, neck issue, the ego in us doesn't want to hear that it's my responsibility that I have this. What the ego has done well and successfully is to make us think all of this is normal. Mm-hmm. They have made us think that degeneration is the way, that you start dying at birth, that you start degenerating as you get older. And as I've taught you, you have to, in this age of information and knowledge, you've got to change your whole definition of aging. Aging is not, and I'm going to go through this, aging is not dependent on how many years you've lived. You know, I don't know about this Bible stuff, but my God, they lived, 969 years? And the Bible says you'll live at 100 years and sit under a tree and be called a young person or something like that. I mean, there's all kinds of things like that that's going on. So what we know that aging is, and I learned this back in the 90s, and people thought I was crazy. Now it's everywhere. But aging has to do with an enzyme that holds your DNA. It's called telomerase, or telomeres. And don't turn me off, because I'm getting all science here. Stay with me. It's so simple to understand a telomere. If anybody here has, I don't think anybody does, well, I think you do. Michael, don't you have shoestrings? Okay, look at your shoestrings. What is keeping those shoestrings from fraying is the cap at the end. If you got old shoes and the cap gets bad, what happens? They fray and you can hardly get it through the shoe lace, right? Through the hole in the shoe. Well, every time cells replicate, which is often, that's another thing people don't get. You think you got the same body you was born with. There's nobody in this room or listening to me that has the same body you were born with. Your body has changed every 7 years. Your liver changes every 6 weeks. I could give you the whole thing, but constantly. I was just reading in here about how many blood cells die, 7 million, I think, with every heartbeat. This proves so much what people who have trouble with illusion This is it. Just look around, I just see bodies. I don't see cells dying and replicating themselves. I don't see this dance of death and destruction like the Hindus did 5,000 years ago that they call Shakti and Shiva. They gave them gods and goddesses. Names. That's what they did. The Hindus have thousands of gods because they named everything a god or a goddess. And the god of the dance, that was destruction and rebirth. Construction, rebirth. Destruction, recreate. Constantly going on. It's a dance called Shakti and Shiva's dance. I don't see that. I don't see that I've had 7 into 74 is what? Anybody got the math? I think we said 9 bodies or something like that. 10.5, wow. So I've had 10.5 bodies in this lifetime. I wish somebody had told me that, because here's the thing that's beautiful about this way in which the universe has set it up biologically to do that, is that between every destruction of a cell and the rebirth of a cell is a still point. It's called the point of grace. Universe, I'm going to give you a point of grace in which you can change the vibration of the next cell that's going to be born. So, telomeres are caps on our DNA. And what we know is that only thing that ages you is the chipping of that telomere, of that enzyme. The more it chips off, the more you age. The more it chips off, the more you age. So how many times you've got is going to determine the point that we call death. And here's what we've learned. We've learned that here's what can slow it down. Diet, exercise, being positive. This is really cool information if you take it. There are things you can do to slow down. I mean, you meet people and you go, you're how old? You look 10, 20 years. And there's some people like, you're what age? Because they look so old. You would have never guessed them to look so young. So everybody's having their own experience because you hold the power. And that brings us to something new that is so fantastic in the world of DNA, and that is the discovery of epigenetics. Epigenetics. Up until then, DNA was written in stone. It was just that way it was because you got 23 chromosomes from the mother, 23 chromosomes from the dad, and that's just the way it's going to be. But then they found out that only affects about 50% of you. See, none of you sitting here or listening to me is 100% your mom and dad. You're not. And you know why? Because you are a spirit or soul that came through them and not from them. You get that? There's a part of me that did not come from my parents, but I incarnated through them. So therefore, I hold 50% of the power of who I am going to become, not based upon my ancestral information or misinformation that has been passed down. Everybody with me? Yeah. And that's where epigenetics came in. So they found out that it's not all nurture, but it's 50%. It's not all nature, but it's 50% nurture. How I feel, how I think, my decisions that I make is going to affect how I'm going to have a life experience. And you can thank Bruce Lipton for that. He really is the one that brought us into the consciousness of epigenetics. But if you take our DNA class, you will learn all this kind of stuff about DNA and epigenetics in our third phase class coming up next month. But you have to take one to do that. All right. Hope that makes some sense to you. I just have to get this stuff out sometimes. But so if you have an issue, think about whether your pain or your issue you're dealing with right now, and change this from I have something that hurts to what hurt is manifesting in this part of my body. And if you'll come and talk to me and see me, I'll help you with that if you'd like to. And we'll continue to do my best to teach others and to help others to learn how to do this so that we can have more and more practitioners who can operate from this level to help so many people. When people come through this that we're going through right now and things free up, you're going to be dealing with a whole different humanity. You're going to deal with people that are fatigued, people that are trying to find a new way in life. You're going to deal with people that have lost everything they identified with, and they're trying to find a new identity. You're going to find people who have been misused and abused in this time of being locked up in houses with people, even family members. I mean, they're going to come out, and you need to be standing there with your little tuning fork. I'm just saying. It doesn't have to be a tuning fork. But whatever your passion is, the light workers need to be lined up and say, we're here for you. Whew, I felt that. We're ready. We've been training. We didn't stay closed down, but we continued to mature our modalities and to learn and prepare for this time. And I tell people who come to the classes, and they say, well, I can't get anybody to do anything. Do what you can, because your time is coming. It's not maybe right now, but it's coming. It may be 6 months, a year. I don't know, but when this thing is over and people start coming out of their homes and people start coming out of their shelters and people start coming out of their psychological shells that they put themselves in, they're going to need assistance and help to find their power. So we're not doing this just to do something, to have a job or something to feed our ego. We're doing it to prepare. I'm going to throw this out. In the Bible, this is called the 144,000. You Bible people. Book of Revelation says there will be 144,000 people who will learn the song of God that no man has written. Now, I could do a whole sermon on that. But your song is your purpose. It's not a song you sing. It's the life you live. That's your song. Some people's songs are sad. Some people's songs are happy. Some people's songs are all kinds of things. But the 144,000, as you've heard of anyone like Jehovah's Witnesses, they're really big on this 144,000 thing. That's why they knock on your door. When they knock on your door, they're trying to earn their way to be one of those 144,000 people, because they get to be the closest to the throne of God. And they're doing it by works, by converting people. I mean, you got to think, what motivates people to do this stuff? To get out and knock on doors and have doors slammed in their face and be called everything. The force is because they got to earn it. And then, see, the answer to all these things is don't throw it away. That's the silliest thing I ever heard. Don't throw it away. Look at it metaphysically. That's what you are. If you're in this community, a new thought, you are a metaphysician. That means you have a responsibility to not throw things away, but to look deeper beyond the symbolism of it and see the essence of the meaning of it. It just bothers me when I find people in New Thought and everything. I don't believe the Bible no more. I don't Jesus no more. I'm not into God no more. What does that mean? Then you have a whole lot of blind spots in your consciousness. You got a lot of empty spaces for the ego to fill in with a bunch of illusion. That's what metaphysics is. Beyond the symbol. Beyond the physical symbol. So, what was I saying for that? What was I saying? I don't know what I was saying.
Metaphysically look at how
Oh, the whole 144,000. Sorry. Woo! You'll be inside my head sometimes. It's very interesting. Just walk in my office and you'll see what's inside my head. Poor Barbara came in my office and Lord bless her in Jesus' name. I'm going to work with this man. Oh my God. They're good. So, learning numerology, Pythagorean. I said, wait a minute. This is not a bunch of numbers of people. This is a code. Do you know that one out of every verse of the Bible has or is about a number? Pick up your Bible. It's chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, somebody did all this numbering of that Bible. It's not in the original text at all. Somebody knew what they were doing to put so many letters in this chapter and that chapter and whatever. I can show you the whole solfeggio frequencies in the Bible if you understand numbers. So, let's do this. 144,000. 1 plus 4 is? Okay, and another 4 is? 0, 0, 0 equals 9. That's how you do numerology. You take a series of numbers until you get a root number. And you can only get to 9. If I got to 10, what would that be? 1 plus 0 is a 1. So I'm back to 1 again. I've spiraled to the next cycles. So 9 is completion. Although in religion, they teach 7 is completion because of this teaching of 7 days of creation, which there's not 7 days of creation. There was only 6 days of creation, and then God rested. Poor God. Do you know God gets tired? Isn't that sad? Their God gets tired and has to every 7 days rest. So 9 is completion. So I'm saying, higher self, spirit, whatever you call it, what is this talking about? And oh, this was so powerful. It says it means those in this incarnation that have completed all their incarnations in the third dimension. And I kept saying, I'm not coming back. This is it. I am not looking. And here's the thing. If you believe you've got another lifetime in linear to correct this one, you're not going to do the work here. This is the people that don't do the work. Because they say, I'll work it out in the next one. Law of karma. No. I made a contract. I can't speak for you, but I made a contract and said I want it all in this lifetime because I'm done. Because I was saying, okay, God, what's going on here? Universe, whoever it is, call me to minister at 17, 16 years old. Come on, let me go to the prom. Let me have a graduation. Let me be a normal teenager. And here I am out traveling around the country, living in YCA rooms and all kinds of crazy stuff because I had to get people saved for Jesus and all that. And I was being driven by this powerful force to minister. And for a long time, I didn't like that. I thought that's unfair. I didn't get a chance to go to theology school. I didn't get a chance to even prepare for this. I was just thrown out there. And that's why I've learned to do what I'm doing, is because it was sink or swim with me. I was just thrown out there in front of people staring at me going, what's he going to give us? And I'm going, I don't know. But I had to do something. And then I ran into this little scripture in the Bible one day. It said, and you shall open your mouth and I shall fill it. I said, okay. You know, I was just that naive and young, believed it was the word of God. I thought God said to me, open your mouth and I'll fill it. I said, okay, I'll open my mouth. And God filled it. Somebody filled it. And I haven't shut up since. And you that know me personally, I'm not a talker. I'm a rather quiet, more introverted type person. I don't really like to sit and BS with people until I get up here and do this. And it's here. So I'm done. You have to find out for yourself. But there's no more linear that's happening. Oh my, time gets so away from us. Course of Miracles says, sickness remains one of the ego's most compelling witnesses in the case against God. Now, I want you to substitute the word God here to reality. Forget the G word. It's a very religious term. I understand that. And we use it, I use it interchangeably with universe, source, whatever. Unified field, universal field, whatever. But it's talking about the ego wants us to believe that what's not real is real. It wants us to believe that there is no oneness or unity in all things, but there is a separation in all things. It effectively serves the ego's purpose by directing our attention to effect and not cause. What I was just telling you. Making the body seem real, autonomous to the mind, and therefore beyond our control. Ooh, that is so good. I love Course of Miracles. I don't care for Course of Miracles in itself as a full body, but I don't care about anything in it as a full body. But I think everything has such a contribution to glean it out, and this has made so great. Let us begin with a working definition. Sickness is a conflict in the mind that is displaced onto the body. Okay. Sickness is a conflict in the mind that is displaced onto the body. So you can say an illness is displaced consciousness. Regardless of the many seeming conflicts that beset us, in reality there's one. That between the ego and God, or reality and unreality. In truth, no such conflict exists. That's the thing that was so confirming in A Course of Miracles for me, is that all of this that the Course calls a dream. You know, it's so hard for me. Everybody's following the American dream. I'm saying, no, America, wake up from the dream. America's found the dream, and it's a nightmare. But we always think of the dream of something we dream about doing. No, we're caught in the dream. And there's nothing worse than having a dream in the dream. But you see, 2,000 years ago, somebody showed up in the dream who wasn't of my dream. I could preach right here. And for me, that was Christ. Christ was in my dream awake, which was a symbol of me wakening from my dream. Maybe it's Buddha and others, I don't know. But for me, it was the living Christ that showed up and said, I'm not of your dream. The Bible says, you're in the world, but you're not of the world. Substitute dream. I'm in this dream, he said, but I'm not of your dream. When you see me in your dream, you're dreaming yourself awake while you're dreaming. Does that make sense at all? He's awake. He's awake. He's awake. And when you're awake, he didn't see the illusion of sickness and disease. He saw people as they were, truly created. That was why he healed people. It wasn't the healing of the people. It was the healing of his mind of illusion. He did not see. Who was it? The guy died. Oh my God, I can't believe I can't remember it. The famous one where Lazarus, thank you. Hey, very good. You all get a star. Lazarus, come and heal him. He's dead. He's in the grave, whatever. Jesus, he's not dead. He's just kind of sleeping. And he said that's about several. They're not dead because he didn't see death. Death was an illusion to him. He only saw reality of the eternal created self, the essence of God or Creator. And that's what he connected to and manifested. He didn't see lack. Oh my God, we're at the wedding and we need more wine. No problem. Just bring me some water. There's a lot of water around here. We'll just change the molecular structure of the water. We'll just do a little alchemy that I learned over in the East when I was over there. And we'll just arrange it around and give you all the wine you want because it's an inexhaustible source. There's no lack. I don't believe in lack. You see how it's, at many levels we're manifesting our life, our world, because we don't have and are not at that place. Let me just a little more. For God does not even recognize the existence of what is inherently illusory. To the ego, however, the war against God is very real, and as long as we identify with this thought system, we shall identify with the belief that our mind is a battlefield. This basic conflict rests on the belief in separation, of which our guilt continually reminds us. Sickness, therefore, is the projection of this guilt. This guilt of I'm not enough. I'm sorry, every human being believes they're not enough. Even the ones who act like they don't. You know. And I'm just going to mention his name, but Donald Trump's a good example of that. He really wants to paint a picture that he is the most handsome, the most powerful, the most smartest. He says these things. I'm not just saying that. I've heard him say. He just recently said he's better looking than John F. Kennedy. He just said that. Now, I'm not really trying to attack him, but I'm attacking what he represents in how it's such a personification of the ego system, because he's trying to separate himself from the people he talks to. And that's the thing they've done with Jesus. They made Jesus try to be separate from the people until we worship and we look to Jesus to do everything. When Jesus is saying, no, you'll do the works that I will do and greater works that you shall do. I'm the first among the brethren. I'm with you. We are one. And we call that the Christ. In sickness, this guilt is projected onto our own. To the ego, it makes no difference whom the object of this projection is, as long as someone can serve to distract. Now, it's just funny, but just driving over here today, and I don't get all political, but hey, we got, 2 weeks to do this? This phase of it. But it was talking about, they were using this word about Donald Trump, that he's projecting on people the thing that he's most afraid of himself. They said that on the radio coming here, and the news I was listening to, or whatever I was listening to, was saying they literally saw this, that it's a projection, and they were showing all the things that he's most concerned about that he's projecting on. And that is the so-called sickness of this nation right now. But you see, even me and most of us, we're getting too tied up on the body of Donald Trump. You can't change the body of Donald Trump. You got to change the thinking of Donald Trump if there's going to be a change at all. But he has to want to change. And that's what this course says is so beautiful, is just give me a little willingness. That's the, it said, if you'll give me a little willingness, I'll do the rest. That's what the Holy Spirit said in here. I'm not asking for much, just the willingness to change, the willingness to pay the price to get out of the world of illusion. Because I'm telling you what, I got to stop. In the world of the illusion we live in, we've made attachments, tribally to family, racially, gender. There's all kinds of stuff we've become so attached to that we think we can't live without it. If it's taken from us, I will not exist. Of course you won't exist. And you don't want to exist as a pseudo-self. Go to the cross. Every one of us needs to go to the cross. It's not the crucifixion of you, it's the crucifixion of the unreal you. that goes to the cross. The cross story is the eagle's projection of its own demise. Do you think the cross killed Christ? Absolutely not. Do you think that Christ felt nails in his hands or whatever happened, whatever the truth is, did not matter because he knew that all of that was the illusion. And the ego came along and said, let's make this illusion real and build a religion that'll be so powerful it will control the world. Sickness. Sickness are misdirected thoughts. And together makes a consciousness that has controlled this planet long enough. Take a moment with me. Holy Spirit, I just want to take time to thank you. My higher self, whatever it is that comes through. You've spoken to us today almost in an intensity that is so needed at this time. We cannot play church any longer. We cannot have one foot in religion and one foot trying to know the truth. Help us to find that inner strength, that inner faith, to stand solid upon the rock of your ecclesia, your true community, your true consciousness. Today we ask for the healing of ourself in our mind. For the healing of my mind is the healing of my brother or sister's mind. For all minds are in communication at some deep level. Heal my mind of illusion. Heal my mind today of error. Heal my mind of sin. That's what sin is. It is missing the mark. It is error. It is attaching to make illusion real. Heal my mind today. And the healing of my mind ripples out to the healing of all minds that are open and willing to receive. And as more minds are open and willing to receive, more of a new consciousness is built and created into this world until there is a tipping and turning point. I see this done through the eye of my faith, through the eye of my enlightenment. I see the day that we are free, not free through the law of this land, but through the law of spirit that has made us free from the law of sin and death. Minister to everyone that is here, everyone that is listening, everyone that is going to listen to this class today. May they feel these words. May they feel the frequency, the vibration of it. And may we not be the same from this class as we were at the beginning of it. I say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and so it is. Thank you so much again for your support. I'm reaching out to you this month. This has been the most challenging month financially for this community that we've had in the 2 years I've been here. We are halfway. We got one more Sunday to go, and we need a real blessing. So if you're out there and you've been blessed and have that blessing, please be a blessing to this class and to HeartLight. You can do it through credit cards, you can do it through PayPal, or you can send it to 7300 Mallard Creek Road, 28262. Can I get a hand? Can I get a hand? Please do it. Please, please, I'm going to ask you to do that. I'm not begging, I'm just asking. And it says, whatever we ask, it shall be given unto us. Thank you. Have a great day. Hope to see you Sunday with us. I've got a special message for you that I think you're going to enjoy. It's called Dancing in the Desert. So come and be with us this Sunday at 11:15. Now next Wednesday, the time is changing, so I need to tell you that real quickly. This is going to change to 11. It starts at 10, but it's going to start at 11. And there's going to be some very subtle Tai Chi next door in the lighthouse for you that want to come and attend at 10 to about 10:45. And then if you'd like to stay and come and be in this class, it'd be wonderful to actually build it up again physically so that you can come and be with us if you want to stay with us. So remember, put it down, next next Wednesday, we will meet at 11 o'clock rather than 10 o'clock. Okay? Also coming up, the next Sunday is going to be the time that your clocks change. And we'll talk about that, but I'm going to plant the seed right now so they can remember that this is coming up November the 1st, I believe it is. And see, forward. We're going to go forward, right? We fall back. That's right. Fall back, spring forward. All right. Bless you. Have a great day. I'll see you soon. Thank you again for you that have come here today to give me an audience.